Welcome to the Immigrantinlaw channel. Relocating to another country is a big event for the whole family. Parents worry about paperwork, work, accommodation, finances, school, and everyday matters. But one of the most important and emotional challenges is helping children adapt to a new language environment. A child finds themselves in a place where people speak differently, where announcements, lessons, conversations in the schoolyard, classmates' jokes, and even simple phrases in a store sound unfamiliar. This can be difficult for an adult, but for a child, such a change often becomes a real internal struggle. Today we'll talk about how children adapt to a new language environment, what stages are considered normal, what challenges families face, and how parents can help their child feel more confident. The first thing to understand is that adaptation doesn't happen overnight. Even if a child picks up new words quickly, that doesn't mean they immediately feel at ease in a new environment. Language isn't just about grammar and vocabulary, it's a way to communicate, make friends, ask questions, set boundaries, express emotions, and be part of a group. Every child learns at their own pace. One might try to talk to classmates after just a few weeks, while another might spend a few more months observing and staying quiet. This isn't always a problem. Sometimes silence is a way to get used to things, understand the rules, pick up on intonations, memorize recurring phrases, and feel safe. During the first few weeks, your child may feel overwhelmed. Even if they studied the language before the relocation, the actual speech at school or preschool often sounds different. People speak faster, use abbreviations, local expressions, and jokes, and change their intonation. Textbooks and real-life situations are two different things. At this stage, the child may be quieter than usual. They may talk less about school, get tired more quickly, become irritable, ask to stay home, or say they don't understand anything. Sometimes parents get worried. They used to be so active, but now they've withdrawn. But in a new language environment, the child has to process a huge amount of information. They aren't just learning, they're constantly trying to make sense of what's happening around them. It's important not to pressure the child with questions like, "So, have you talked to anyone yet? Why are you so quiet? When will you start speaking normally?" Such phrases can increase their anxiety. It's better to ask gentle questions. What was the easiest thing to understand today? Who in the class seemed kind to you? Was there anything that surprised you? Gradually, the child begins to pick out familiar words and phrases. They understand when it's time to sit down, open their notebook, go out for recess, pick up a pencil, or approach the teacher. This is already an important step. Initial interactions are most often based not on complex conversations, but on simple actions, playing together, exchanging items, smiling, repeating a phrase, or responding with a single word. For younger children, play often serves as a natural bridge into a new language environment. They may not understand every word, but they pick up on gestures, emotions, and the rules of the game. For teenagers, this stage can be more difficult. It's not just the ability to speak that matters to them, but also how they appear in the eyes of their peers. A teenager may fear making mistakes, having an accent, or getting the wrong reaction. That's why they sometimes prefer to stay silent, even if they already understand a lot. The parent's task is to support every small success. Don't dismiss them with words like, "Well, that's easy." For a child, saying their first sentence at a new school can be a big step. It's better to say, "I can see it wasn't easy for you, but you did it." One common issue that parents aren't always aware of is language fatigue. A child might spend the entire day at school, constantly listening to a different language, trying to understand assignments, watching the teacher's reactions, and observing classmates. By evening, they may be emotionally drained. This isn't laziness or a tantrum. It is a normal reaction of the brain to heavy mental strain. This is especially true if the child is learning school subjects and a new language at the same time. They may know the material in math or biology, but not understand the wording of the assignment. As a result, they feel as though my grades have gotten worse, even though the problem isn't their ability but the language barrier. During this period, it's important to reduce unnecessary pressure. Don't expect perfect grades right after moving. It's better to help the child establish a calm study routine, short sessions, reviewing basic vocabulary, visual aids, and talking to the teacher about support. Sometimes it's helpful to prepare phrases in advance that the child can use at school. "Could you repeat that, please? I don't understand the assignment. Can I have more time? Can I answer later?" Such phrases give the child a sense of control. They understand that they don't have to silently endure not understanding. During the adaptation period, children often start mixing languages. For example, they might slip foreign words into their native speech or forget how to say a certain word in their native language. This sometimes worries parents. Is he forgetting our language? But more often than not, this is a natural stage. A child's brain seeks the quickest way to express a thought. If a new word is used more often at school, it may come to mind first. This doesn't mean that the native language is disappearing, but it is truly important to support it. The native language is not just a means of communicating with the family. It is part of a child's identity, memory, and emotional connection with their parents. It is often easier for a child to talk about feelings, fears, hurts, and experiences in their native language. That is why it is important to maintain a space at home where the child can freely speak their native language, read, watch quality content, discuss events, joke around, and tell stories. At the same time, you shouldn't completely ban the new language at home. It's better to strike a balance. At home, you can speak in the native language while discussing new words calmly and with interest. For example, how does that word sound at school? Or how would you explain that in our language? This way, the child doesn't feel that one language is replacing the other. They see that both languages can be a part of their life. One of the main reasons why language adaptation is so important is friendship. A child needs not only to understand the teacher, but also to become part of the group. And for that, they need phrases that aren't always found in textbooks. How to ask to join a game, how to make a joke, how to respond to a joke, how to say I don't like that, how to decline an invitation, and how to invite someone to hang out. Sometimes a child may feel lonely, not because they aren't accepted, but because they don't yet know how to start a conversation. Parents can help through simple practice at home. For example, role-playing situations. What can you say if you want to sit next to someone? How do you ask if you can play together? How do you respond if you didn't understand the question? For younger children, short, pre-prepared phrases work well. For teenagers, discussing real-life situations without pressure or lecturing is effective. It's important not to turn every story from school into an interrogation. Sometimes a teenager just needs to be listened to. Participating in clubs, sports, and creative activities also helps. There, communication revolves around the activity itself. When children draw, play soccer, dance, or work on a project together, language is acquired more naturally. The child develops a recurring social circle and a clear context. It is important for parents to establish a connection with the school. There is no need to wait until a problem becomes serious. It is better to find out in advance what support is available for children learning the language. Extra classes, adapted materials, assistance from a teaching assistant, conversation groups, and individualized recommendations. It's important for teachers to understand that a child may know the answer, but lack the vocabulary to express it. That's why it's helpful to inform the school about the child's educational background before relocation, which subjects they excelled in, what their strengths are, and what might cause stress. Sometimes parents are hesitant to approach a teacher because they themselves aren't confident in the language. But modern schools are generally accustomed to multilingual families. You can use an interpreter, ask for written instructions, bring someone to the meeting who can help with translation, or prepare questions in advance. The main thing is not to stay on the sidelines. When the school and family work together, it's easier for the child to get through the adaptation period. There are several mistakes that can make the adaptation process more difficult. The first is comparing your child to others. Comments like, "Look, the neighbor's boy is already talking," don't motivate. They only reinforce a sense of failure. Every child develops language skills in their own way. The second is making fun of mistakes or accents. Even a good-natured joke can leave a lasting impression. A child needs a safe environment where they have the right to make mistakes. The third is demanding immediate results. Language develops gradually. First comes understanding, then simple responses, followed by more fluent speech, and only then the confident use of complex structures. Fourth, ignoring emotions. Sometimes the phrase "I don't want to go to school" isn't about a reluctance to learn, but rather fear, loneliness, or fatigue. It's important to listen not only to the words, but also to the child's state of mind. Parents' help doesn't have to be complicated. Simple, regular activities often work best. Read age-appropriate books together, watch cartoons, movies, or short videos in the new language with subtitles. Discuss everyday topics, groceries, transportation, school, clothes, the weather, and emotions. Visit the library, museums, and children's events. Help your child get to know the local culture through real-life experiences, not just through textbooks. It's very helpful to create opportunities for small successes. For example, your child ordered a drink on their own, asked the price, said hello to a neighbor, understood an announcement, or wrote a short message to a classmate. All of these are steps forward. At the same time, it's important to maintain warmth and predictability at home. A relocation changes a lot, and your child needs a sense of security. Family traditions, familiar meals, bedtime conversations, favorite books, and peaceful weekends help them feel that even in a new country, they have a home and loved ones. Sometimes adaptation can be more difficult. It's important to pay attention if a child seems down for a long time, cries frequently, refuses to go to school, complains of pain with no obvious medical cause, completely avoids social interaction, suddenly loses interest in favorite activities, or becomes very anxious. In such cases, it's important not to wait for things to work themselves out. You can talk to the homeroom teacher, school counselor, language teacher, or child specialist. Getting extra support doesn't mean there's something wrong with your child. It's a way to help them get through a difficult period more smoothly and safely. A child's adaptation to a new language environment is a journey that involves more than just learning words and grammar rules. It involves getting used to a new school, new people, a new culture, and a new sense of self. It's important for a child to know that they don't have to be perfect right away. They have the right to make mistakes, feel tired, miss their old life, and gradually settle into their new one. And it's important for parents to remember, support, patience, and a calm presence often mean more than any extracurricular activities. Over time, the new language ceases to be a barrier and becomes a tool. Through it, children gain friends, confidence, opportunities, and the feeling that I can live here, study here, and be myself. If you are planning to relocate to Europe and want to understand which country and which legalization route is right for you, submit a request for a free consultation with Immigrantinlaw's lawyers. We'll develop the optimal relocation strategy for you, prepare all the necessary documents, explain the nuances of the law in detail, and answer all your questions. We'll analyze your case, your goals, and your situation without using templates. Want to learn more or start the process today? Contact us. All contact details are listed in the description below this video. We're here to help you take a confident step toward a new life. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ask your questions in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. Discover a world of opportunities with Immigrantinlaw.